Okay, so today we are going to rust some metal for a Halloween prop. I needed another bucket for a rusty bucket of chicken, and I did rust that purposely. And I happen to need another one, so we're going to go ahead and rust another bucket. So I have a bucket, and I have white distilled vinegar. I hope a shadow isn't on that where you can't see it, but we have plenty of this around here because we've started canning food. So white distilled vinegar, some salt. I'm using kosher salt, and the reason I'm using this is because it's what I use for paper mache, so I have plenty on hand, so I'm using what's available. And peroxide. This you can get from the Dollar Tree for $1.25. I'm not sure how much at the dollar store, maybe cheaper. Okay, and I need quite a bit of this, so I'm gonna make a big batch of it. I've got other things that I need to rust pretty quick, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make a big batch. And I can't remember where I learned this or the reasoning, and there's the air conditioner kicking on, or the reasoning behind it, but it works. So I put about half the peroxide in there. And I don't have an exact measurement for anything. I just kind of go with it. And I've got about half the vinegar. And I think the vinegar may be what makes the reaction more than anything. I know it's a combination of chemicals. I wasn't a chemistry major, but I know it's a combination of everything, but I think that the vinegar does the most. And I'm just putting lots of salt. It's probably going to end up being about a cup. And I've got a big stick from the Home Depot to stir it. And I'm just gonna dip it in there and kind of roll it around. If you let it sit on one side, it's gonna give you the line like I did this one. I didn't have enough in my bucket, so you can see where it kind of separates. Well, that side doesn't really, but you can tell here where I left it laying there and then turned it over. And that's because I didn't have enough at the time. I ran out of something, so I used what I had. And you could like just run a sponge across this and then take it out and let it sit somewhere. It'll rust it for you also. One thing, if you are getting the metal buckets, especially at Home Depot, and I learned this the hard way, don't get the ones, they have a clear coat. You'd have to actually run your hand across them to be able to tell it. They won't rust. And, well, they will rust, but it's gonna take a lot of work. And I had to come back, I had to scrape it, sand it, and it just took forever trying to get that stuff off. So it's much easier just getting an uncoated bucket and letting it rust that way. So I'm gonna let that bucket sit, and I'm gonna grab this out of here in a minute. I'm gonna let the bucket sit for maybe 20-30 minutes, and I'll be back. So it has sat for a while. and it's nice and rusty. I'll rinse it off to stop the process, let it dry, and come back and seal it. I also put the lid in there, and that's what the lid is looking like. And it had some on top as it was drying. That's why the top is looking different from the bottoms. I also threw a few larger ones in there while I was waiting. And they are all nice and rusty clean also. So once the little one gets done drying, I'll come back. Alright, so this is what I ended up with. They did sit out for an extra day, and that's because we got some unexpected rain that I didn't know was coming. But they do look good and rusty. So now I'm going to waterproof them so it doesn't have like all the rust coming off of it. And I'm using a Gorilla Glue Crystal Clear Waterproof Patching Seal. I always spray them down with this.